Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So here we're looking at Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 1, titled What Lies Beneath. If you're new here, this will be a recap and review, but I'm not going to go through every single scene in this show because I don't think it's called for with Superman and Lois. Let's take a look at the big things, take a look at, some of the messages in here, see where these characters are at. I'll talk about things I liked in this episode, maybe some of the things I disliked, and we'll talk about that crazy ending and maybe some theories. Before we go into it, please make sure you like this video, please make sure to subscribe if you're new. But let's take a look at Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 1. And so because this is my first time covering Superman and Lois, I didn't get to cover the first season because I didn't have a YouTube channel yet. I show you my quick thoughts on the first season. I thought the first season was great. I think the actors playing Superman and Lois are doing a phenomenal job. I think they embody the characters really well. Tyler Hoechlin, he's been a great Superman so far in this first season. My only problem was probably lying the actor that plays Jordan, the son. I just don't think I don't think he's that good, and he sort of takes me out of it sometimes. But it's not the biggest deal, and he does grow on me as a character, so I can kind of look past his acting skills and see the character for what it is, right? But going into this episode, we still had a lot of answers, particularly surrounding John Iron's daughter, Nat. As we saw at the end of Season 1, she doesn't come back into this universe. She was never a part of our universe, but she sort of just pops out of nowhere. And one of my main problems in Season 2, Episode 1 was that we didn't really get an answer to, where did she come from, right? I don't think we got an answer. She just sort of, comes out of nowhere, she crash lands. She sees Lois, she thinks that's her mom, and it's not, right? So how did she, get into this universe? Because we were able to see how John Irons did, but it wasn't fully explained how Nat got into our universe. But I guess we can infer, she got here in a similar way and how John Irons got here. And right from the beginning, we see that it's not, the happy-go-lucky relationship that we thought it might have been. Nat and Lois, it's going to be a very complicated relationship throughout this whole season. By the end, we see it's going to be pretty happy. But I'm sure there will be some complications that come about between them throughout this season. And one big thing I noticed with this episode was that it's very relationship focused. It was sort of telling us where everyone was at. How's Lois and Clark's relationship? Jonathan's got a new girlfriend. How is Sarah and Jordan doing? How is Lana Lang and her husband doing? How's Lana Lang and Clark? How's John Irons and Nat? How's Nat and Lois? It was sort of all these relationships. What's Superman's relationship with the government now that Lois's father is no longer part of the DOD? Now, how is Superman's relationship with the American government is. It was very relationship focused, and I think that is not a problem. I think it was a good foundation for this episode to tell us because that's needed information, but it wasn't as exciting as, the first episode of Superman and Lois from Season 1. I think it just blew us away from how good we thought it was. So this season, they sort of traded in the excitement for telling us what we needed to know and where these characters lie, at this point in time. And like I said, we have to see a relationship between Sarah and Jordan. It looks like Sarah's going to be starting to drift apart from Jordan this season. Looks like she maybe found a new boyfriend, a new boy she likes at summer camp. It's another relationship thing where I don't really care about Sarah and Jordan's relationship. It was nice in Season 1, but to see now that's probably going to fall apart, I'm sort of okay, let that end and let's just move on. Unless they have some stuff in there, maybe this boy from summer camp is someone he knows or he comes back and there's stuff in there. But for right now, the high school drama part of this show is not really what I'm watching for. One great thing I loved about this episode was the shots. There's some great shots of Superman, especially this one shot when he's I think the North Korean submarine he's trying to save. To see him in that suit standing above the ocean in the rain, 6 shots. I mean, they make the suit actually look damp. His face is all wet. The rain coming down, the storm, the lightning behind him. Just great cinematography, some great shots of Superman that I really loved. We also see him get, was it flashbacks? Or he gets that migraine or, headache. He starts to see spurts of flashbacks and he falls into the ocean. And I guess that will also be another recurring thing we see in this season. And it's sort of why is he getting those flashbacks? Is it because of what we'll see at the end of whoever's in that mine? Is it what is happening there? And if you guys have any theories on that, let me know down below in the comments. 'Cause I'm not really sure what those are for. Why is that happening to him? This episode also had some great comedic moments with Jonathan and his girlfriend. I thought there was 2 scenes that were pretty funny. When Clark is talking to Jonathan and his girlfriend, and right before Clark leaves the North Korean submarine, I think he says some line and Jonathan doesn't listen to him, but then the girlfriend says the same thing and he listens to her, and Clark just has this face oh my god, and then he just goes away. That made me laugh. And then when the mom walks in on Jonathan and his girlfriend, I thought that was another funny scene as well. Another big thing about this episode is the new former leadership with the DOD, the American government that's in Smallville. Lois's dad is no longer there, like I said. So we have this new guy in there who doesn't seem to be a big fan of Superman. Superman doesn't seem to be a big fan of him as well. There will be a ton of conflict, and that's going to be one of the main points of this season, is to see that relationship between Superman and the American government now, as you see that they're sort of like bashing heads now. There's not really that mutual relationship that they've had throughout all of season 1. And then, the middle of this episode is focused, like I said, on that relationship thing. We see Lois are arguing with Clark, and she calls Clark, while he's being Superman. It was like, we need to talk about Jonathan. He had a girlfriend here, and, he gets mad because she's not supposed to use the device, only for important situations. And then, I think that was just her taking her anger out on her relationship with Nat, on Clark. Like, she wants to be close to Natalie. Natalie sort of like resenting her, not talking to her, and she wants that relationship because that's the daughter that she lost in a way. Like she had her miscarriage, even though it is a different Natalie from a different universe. She still has that connection with her, and some sort of bond or some sort of like commitment she feels that she needs to be as a mother to Natalie, even though she doesn't need that to be. Like, she puts so much pressure on herself. When like I was just sort of thinking to myself, like she doesn't like that. She's not the mom of Natalie. She doesn't need to. She already has 2 kids. Like, just chill out. Like, do your own thing. And Clark sort of tells her that, like, you're not the mom, like, you don't have any commitment. But then when you look at Lois's side and, how she perceives it, you can't blame her for wanting to have that relationship with Natalie, even though she also knows that's not her daughter. There's also a scene between Clark and Lana Lang where they talk about their own relationships. Lana complains about her husband. Clark complains about Lois a little bit. I saw there was some romantic tendencies here, like a little bit of flirting. I feel like in a way, I think a tad, like a drop of flirting. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys I'm a big Superman comic junkie. I've read some Superman comics, like some of the big ones. My favorite is All-Star Superman, but I know that Superman has a relationship with Lana Lang at some point, right? Like in the comics and the movies and the animated movies, like there's a relationship there. Do I see them doing that in a Superman and Lois show? I think it'd be a cool dynamic at some point. I think it's way too soon to have, Superman and Lois like maybe start to break up, and then he accidentally has like an affair with Lana Lang, maybe like a one night only thing, and then him and Lois have to like, mend their relationship. Like, I could see that happening in this show, but I think it's just way too soon right now. But I could see that maybe they are dropping some hints for that to come in the future. I don't know. Maybe that's just me overthinking that one scene. And then we start to hear or feel these earthquakes, right? It sort of happens sporadically throughout this episode. And then we get to see those, well, they're not Kryptons, but they have the Kryptonic symbol in the mines. And it's those 2 guys that are working with the DOD, the American government. So we didn't get too much explanation on them either. So it looks like they're what? They're regular human experiments to make metahumans? Is that what they are? Like they're government experimented humans? But I feel like that's a little bit too much. Like, would Superman like let that go by? Wouldn't that be like, I guess they volunteered for this, right? He's more mad that they have that symbol on, because that symbol represents something that, I don't think they necessarily represent. And so this conflict with the American government, I think it's pretty interesting. I know Superman just changed his comic motto, right, recently. I think it used to be fighting the American way or something, right? And now it's like fighting for a better tomorrow, which I think does fit better for the Superman character, because he's right. And especially in this episode, I like how they emphasize that he's a hero for the world, like not just America. But to see these superhumans that are now working for the American government, I think it's interesting. I think it's pretty cool, to see Superman probably going to go head to head with these guys in a couple of ways. like maybe they both show up the same thing. Like they want to do it one way, he wants to do it another way. I think it could be interesting. And then now, like if you have that plot line and then what's going on in the mines, which we're about to talk about, it's going to be a setup for a great season, I think. Also, after this, we get the nice exchange of dialogue between Natalie and Lois, how they sort of like talk for the first time in this episode. This is where it convinced me to see Lois's side of things. like that's the daughter that she never had, and it convinced me that I'm like, okay, like Lois is right if she wants to try and make a relationship with Natalie. And I thought it was a nice little thing, nice exchange of dialogue. So then the episode ends with a nice happy family. We see Natalie and Lois. They sort of like they make amends. We see John Irons. They all walk to the Kent house. In Smallville, it's all nice and happy, right? Then we hear echoes of like thumping again, the earthquake, and we get to go into the mines. We see the camera go into the mines, and then it's like an iron hand shoots out. So at first I was like, I got no clue who this could be. I'm like racking my brain. I'm like, who's got like an iron metal suit in DC? Like, obviously we've seen Steel. It's not Steel. We just saw him, right? We just saw John Irons. So I'm like, who could this be? So I went to Reddit. A lot of people are saying Doomsday. They're thinking this is Doomsday here. And I'm on board with it. I'm going to say that's Doomsday too. I think it could be anyone right now. I don't think there's like a clear-cut answer unless someone has an answer out there. But it looks like the favorite answer is Doomsday, which I think is sick. I mean, Doomsday is such a cool and like badass hero badass villain for Superman. I do think we did get like a little too much Doomsday with the animated movies and then the Snyder Cut movies. I'm a little bit Doomsday fatigued at times. I would much rather see like maybe like a new Superman villain that is in the comics that wasn't used that much, or is not that favored, and they turn him into like something really cool in this show. Or Brainiac. Like I've been itching for like a phenomenal performance of a Brainiac character. I mean, I know we have him in Injustice, and we got him in some anime movies as well. But I would have loved to have seen a Brainiac, live action interpretation, because I think there's so much to be told and shown with a Brainiac versus Superman movie or even show. I think that'd be cool as well. But yeah, it looks to be Doomsday is going to come to take on Superman and Lois's version of Superman, which is going to be sick. I mean, I'm pretty excited. So my rating for this episode is a 3.6 out of 5. I think it's a solid start. Like I said earlier, I don't think it was great. They substituted the thrills to give us this grounded look into what's going on right now, like with the relationship, like how, like what's everyone doing right now, like where's everyone at, and that is okay for a first episode. You can't get mad at them for setting the groundwork for the rest of the season, and it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be great. I love the first season. Season 2 should be good. This is by far the best thing on CW for me. One last thing, like I, as a fan, and if you guys don't know me as a CW fan right now, I've never watched any of the CW shows. I've always wanted to. But at some point it became too big, and I'm a completionist, so I knew that if I was going to go and watch The Flash, I'd have to go watch Arrow, I'd have to go watch Supergirl, I'd have to go watch DC's Legends Tomorrow, and I looked at it all and I was like, this is going to take me years, and I just don't even think it's going anywhere, so I don't want to invest my time into it. But Superman and Lois, they said you don't have to watch anything else, you can just watch this, and I was like, alright, and I checked it out and I thought it was great. So let me know down below. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys just like it? Did you dislike it? What did you guys think? Comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new, as we keep up with Superman and Lois now Season 2 and a bunch of other shows and movies you guys want to check out the channel, see what else I cover. Make sure to like this video. Have a great rest of the day. I will see you on the next video. Have a great rest of the day.